You ever watch someone completely destroy a reputation without even raising their voice? That's exactly what happened at the 2025 BT Awards. And no, it wasn't a rapper, an actor, or some scandalous viral moment. It was Tyler, the man known for his soft-spoken wisdom and unwavering support of Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry just dropped a truth bomb so big, it may have ended the Sussex brand for good. What he said and what he didn't say was more brutal than any tabloid headline. And the fallout? Massive. Stick around, because this story gets worse by the minute, and it might change the way you see Meghan Markle forever. It's the 25th BET Awards. Everyone's dressed to impress, cameras flashing, social feeds buzzing. And then, out of nowhere, Tyler Perry steps up to the mic. No fanfare, no theatrics. Just a few calm, deliberate words that cut. He told a story, a personal one, about offering someone his home, his help, his heart, only to be completely ghosted when they didn't need him anymore. He never said Meghan's name, but he didn't have to. The internet connected the dots in seconds. This was about the very same woman he once gave a mansion to. The same woman whose security bills he paid. The same couple he sheltered when the royal gates closed behind them. And now, he was done protecting them. Flashback to 2020. Harry and Meghan leave the royal family. Headlines erupt, and they land in America with nowhere to go. Who steps in? Tyler Perry. He opens the doors to his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion, pays for their protection, and essentially gives them a soft place to land. To the world, it looked like a beautiful act of generosity, but behind the scenes, that kindness was starting to feel one-sided. According to sources close to Perry, what began as compassion turned into a toxic pattern. Meghan allegedly began treating his generosity like an expectation, not a favor. One incident in particular blew everything up. Meghan asked to use his private jet. No offer to cover expenses. No discussion, just an assumption. When Tyler said no, not because he couldn't afford it, but because he felt used, she reportedly flipped. That moment became the turning point. Perry realized this wasn't friendship. It was exploitation, and Perry wasn't alone. People in his circle, staffers, producers, colleagues, all started to say the same thing. Meghan didn't return favors. She collected them like currency and discarded people once their usefulness ran out. For years, Perry ignored those whispers. He believed in their story. He wanted to help, but as millions poured in from Netflix and Spotify deals, as the Sussex brand skyrocketed, there was no thank you, no acknowledgement, no return call, just silence. And for a man like Tyler Perry, that silence eventually said everything. So when he spoke out at the BET Awards, it wasn't just a speech, it was a warning that even the most patient people have limits. And when they hit it, they don't come back. The fallout? Immediate. One of Meghan and Harry's upcoming Netflix projects lost a key producer within hours of Perry's speech airing. Another investor, who had already been through 2 pitch meetings, pulled out completely, saying, "I don't want to be involved in something that feels this toxic." That wasn't about content. It was about character. Even Meghan's PR machine couldn't keep up. They scrambled to shift the narrative, offering exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes access, even floating a podcast rebuttal. But the media wasn't interested. In fact, their push came off as desperate. And the harder they tried, the worse it looked. So what finally pushed Tyler Perry, one of Hollywood's most private and gracious figures, over the edge? It wasn't the free mansion. It wasn't the unpaid security bills. It wasn't even the private jet request that started the unraveling. Those were just symptoms. The real final straw came in early 2024, and it had nothing to do with friendship. It had to do with reputation. According to sources close to Perry's inner circle, Meghan had been pitching a new media company, another branded empire aimed at redefining power, storytelling, and womanhood. Except in one particular pitch, meeting with a high-level investor group, Meghan allegedly mentioned that Tyler Perry was a silent supporter, not a public partner, not someone she had asked permission from. Just casually dropped his name into the mix as a credibility boost, without even letting him know. That one sentence lit a fire, because for someone like Perry, whose name is his brand, who built his empire brick by brick with sweat, integrity, and loyalty, that crossed a line. It wasn't just a name drop. It was a calculated use of his goodwill to gain financial leverage, and he hadn't signed off on it. He hadn't even been informed. And what made it worse? It wasn't the first. Sources say Meghan had previously referenced him in smaller meetings, implying continued support long after their contact had fizzled. But this time was different. This was on a professional stage, with real money on the line, and real investors who were assuming Perry was behind the project. When the report reached Perry, he reportedly didn't yell. He didn't threaten lawyers. He sat with it. And then he made a decision. He wasn't going to let someone else rewrite his story. That's when the speech was born. not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. It wasn't gossip, it wasn't petty, it was protection. Because Perry, for all his silence, for all his patience, had finally realized he wasn't just being drained, he was being used as a tool to open doors, elevate optics, and he wasn't going to let that stand. When he took the stage at the BET Awards, it wasn't revenge, it was release. And when he said, "Some folks borrow blessings like they're owed but never return the favor," he wasn't just talking about Meghan's actions. He was talking about a pattern of exploitation, entitlement, and strategic relationships masked as genuine connection. And in that moment, Perry wasn't just reclaiming his name. He was exposing everything she'd built on his. Former assistants, producers, and even consultants began to break their silence. One former Archwell team member said the workplace was where gratitude went to die. Another claimed Meghan demanded absolute loyalty and punished those who dared to give honest feedback. A Spotify producer described her perfectionism as suffocating. She didn't want partners, they said. She wanted yes men. Even Oprah's camp, Yes Oprah, started distancing themselves. No public defense, no call to arms. Just silence. And in Hollywood, that silence is loud. Suddenly, Markle brand wasn't shining. It was cracking. Archwell Foundation paused internal projects, budget freezes, hiring halts. Netflix began reevaluating its long-term partnership. What was once a red-hot brand was now radioactive. Public support shifted fast. Social media hashtags that once praised Meghan were now filled with memes mocking her victim narrative. People began to question, was she ever really misunderstood? Or was it all a performance? Even her most loyal fans went quiet. Insiders say Meghan panicked. Furious texts were reportedly sent to Perry after the BET speech. She accused him of betrayal, of destroying her family's legacy. But Perry never responded. Not then, not now. He was done. And more voices joined in. A respected publicist claimed Meghan's team tried to blacklist journalists who asked off-script questions. A consultant said she ignored strategic advice unless it served her narrative. Everything they said was about control, about image, about leverage. By this point, even Hollywood elites were speaking in hushed tones. Studio execs began warning each other, she's too difficult to work with. One joked that working with Meghan's team was like playing chess with a mirror. Everything was spin. Polls revealed a 30% drop in US support for Harry and Meghan in just 1 year. In the UK, they were already branded as royal exiles. Now, they were becoming cultural exiles too. And through all of this, Harry remained mostly silent. Some say he's trying to fix things behind the scenes. Others believe he's just too exhausted to fight anymore. Tyler Perry's words weren't loud. They weren't angry. They were calm, honest, surgical. And that's exactly why they hit so hard. He didn't just expose a moment. He exposed a pattern, one that's been quietly unraveling for years. Meghan Markle may have been exiled from the royal family once. But this is something bigger. This is an exile from the very culture that once embraced her. And in Hollywood, once you lose the room, it's nearly impossible to get it back.